Hello, everyone. Good morning or good evening. How are you people? Hope I am audible to all.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Good morning.
All right. So we'll wait for another minute for everyone to be online. And I expect everyone to be online, okay, like on time. Let's check. Mm. All right. So yesterday we have started with our DevOps introduction, right? So before we move on to the next topic, do you guys have any question on that? Whether you were able to understand the things or any questions you guys have,
yes, I am
please let.
having one question.
Yeah.
I just want a basic difference between the continuous development and continuous delivery and continuous deployment. Uh, with an example.
See, we are in the progress now. Okay, so if you can see our yesterday's session, we have just started with the DevOps stages and discussed about continuous development and continuous integration,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
we have to discuss about continuous testing, delivery, deployment, everything is in place. Okay, just go with the flow. You will
Okay.
get the clarity about all those things.
Okay. Done.
All right. Since
Done.
it was the very first day of our session, we just had introduction, right? So just
Okay.
go with the flow. Okay, one by one, you'll get to know in detail. Hmm? So
Done.
by end of today's session, we'll be completing this DevOps introduction part, all these stages.
Okay.
You'll get more clarity on that. Yeah.
Done. Done.
Any other question?
No.
Any other question from others?
No, Loksa, I just wanted to know that we have this specific models, right? Waterfall model and agile methodology, this DevOps tool. Apart from this, there are a couple of other models are there. Whether those are useful in terms of SDLC process or not, like spiral model,
No,
V
not
model,
necessary.
these
Not
things.
necessary.
Okay.
Not necessary. Our main agenda is to learn about DevOps. So to understand the importance of DevOps, we have just revisited the traditional models, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
by comparing it with Agile only, you can able to understand the importance of DevOps now, right? If I directly jump into
Mm.
DevOps, you cannot understand what it is, and you cannot understand the complete benefits of DevOps. So on for that only, we just reviewed the previous models, and now I think your DevOps is more appropriate for the current SDLC process, right?
Fine. No.
All right. So we are on day 2 of our session. All right. So just a quick recap of what we had discussed yesterday. We had an introduction to DevOps. We d- we have mentioned like the DevOps. It is just a strategy which helps to promote the collaboration between the teams, like development teams and other operation teams associated to SDLC, in order to achieve the continuous development, continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous delivery, continuous development, and continuous monitoring. We always refer the term continuous because it is not like an one-time process. Okay, it is a continuous process throughout the lifetime of your application. All right, and all these continuous efforts should be accommodated through some automation. Right. So in order to implement DevOps, we talked about the various teams involved in the process and various environments we have, starting from the development environment, everything. See, it is just a day 1 of our session. We had all these things we are going to discuss in detail. That is what you can learn about the core topics, right? So just go with the flow, right? And then we talked about the application architecture, which is promptly required for DevOps continuous deployment, like your microservice application architecture, right? And then the DevOps stages. So starting from continuous development, what are things we are planning to achieve through DevOps? All these things are called as DevOps stages. So on that, we have discussed about the continuous development. It is nothing but the capability of any application team to continuously onboard the application changes based upon the business requirement. And here DevOps aims to improve the productivity of the developer, right? How it can improve the productivity of developer means let the developer stick to his own work. Unnecessarily, he should not be involved in any other efforts like manual code compilation or manual testing or manual no email notifications. Also, all these things can be automated through DevOps workflow, right? So on this continuous development stage, developers will be using some intuitive IDEs for coding and development, and then they'll be using some Git-based version control system to maintain the source code changes. And the continuous integration, it is just a process of automating your application builds, unit testing, and then code promotion for further testing. It is not like promoting the code to deployment environment, production environment. It is just code promotion to the target test environments like QA or UAT. Correct. And here depends upon the process. They'll be using various types of build tools, unit testing tools, and Jenkins for orchestration, Docker and Kubernetes for container orchestration. All right. Any question on this? Hmm? If you guys have any question or if you're unable to understand anything or if it is not clear, please let me know right away so that we can able to keep the things in sync. If you're mentioning at the end of the session, the last minute through your feedback or on my absence, it is very difficult for you to understand. The whole day will be wasted for you. So what are the questions you have? Without disturbing the flow, you can just ask those questions and get things clarified because these are all the core things. If you understand this right, on top of it, you can able to come up with your own thoughts and automation, right? So your entire DevOps journey, it is based upon these stages of DevOps. I agree. Some of the terminologies, some of the technical terms might be strange for you people. It is not difficult actually. It looks strange because for the very first time you might be experiencing these terms, right? Just go with the flow. I'll be explaining all those things in detail while we progress. Is that clear? And as I said, please have a continuous interaction so that it will be easy for you to learn many new things while we progress.
Yeah, you can continue. Yes, looks like.
All right. So now the next stage in the DevOps workflow is your continuous testing stage. So yesterday we were able to talk about the continuous integration. It means using continuous integration, the changes whatever made by the developers are built and promoted to the test environment. So now assume that the changes, source code changes, whatever we want to deploy, it's all available in a test environment like QA or UAT environment. So now it is a responsibility of the testing team to perform the testing. So it is a process or it is the capability of the testing team to continuously test the changes. Okay. Based on various test cases, and test data. Okay. And here the testing team is responsible to create test data and test scenarios, or test cases, we can say. For example, consider I have deployed one application. There is one small use case. Let's say I have prepared one user interface, user login page, where I'll be accepting the username and password. And once the username and password is valid, I'll allow the user to access my application. So this is one page which was modified by the developer. And to test this page, what are all the inputs required, what are all the scenarios we can have, everything will be created by the testing team. All right. And in order to perform this, what are all the tools the testing team is going to use? That is the next important point. So the tools are, obviously they'll be using some unit level testing tools, or TestNG, JUnit, and they'll be using some sort of Selenium, right? And in order to orchestrate the testing, they'll be using something called Jenkins, right? So how DevOps team is going to help this testing team to automate the testing means we are going to provide them some workflow. So what are all the scenarios they want to test, and what are all the test reports they want to generate? Everything can be automated by integrating with Jenkins. Jenkins is one of the build orchestration tool. So testing team, they don't need to manually get into the process and do that. Once they have the testing aid available, they can able to easily trigger it with the help of your Jenkins pipeline. Right. This is about continuous testing. And the next item in the list is continuous delivery and deployment. So please pay attention here. It is something very critical entity to be considered, because throughout the DevOps journey, definitely you'll be part of this activity. All right. So if you can recollect my last day session, yesterday itself, we talked about a small pointers related to continuous delivery and deployment. Remember, while discussing about agile methodology. So continuous delivery, it expects the manual intervention, manual approval for production release. But this continuous deployment will never expect any manual intervention for production release. So what it means, both continuous delivery and continuous deployments are used to release, perform production release. Okay. Both are used to promote the changes to the production environment. From non-prod environment, we can able to promote to the production environment. Now, how it is performed? If you are using a continuous delivery approach, in this case, in order to promote your code or changes from non-prod to prod, we expect the manual approval. So here, the manual approval is required to promote the changes from non-prod to prod environment. All right. That is the very first thing to consider. And during this continuous delivery process, okay, there might be downtime. Okay. So during this process, it means when you're trying to promote the changes from your non-prod to prod environment using continuous delivery approach, there might be some downtime in the application, right? And it is mandatory to expect the approval from all the stakeholders, right? But if it is a continuous deployment approach, here, no manual approvals are required to promote the changes from non-prod to prod. And here, the code production release can be achieved without any downtime. Correct? So that is a very important thing to consider. And another important point here is to achieve, continuous deployment can be achieved only using what I said yesterday. Remember? Microservice based application architecture. So only if your application architecture is microservice based application architecture, you can able to achieve continuous deployment. Otherwise, it can be done with the help of your continuous delivery. So for monolith application, continuous delivery process can be used for production release. Can you able to understand the terms, the difference between continuous delivery and deployment? The baseline is both are related to implement your production releases. If you are using your continuous delivery approach, we need to provide a manual intervention, manual approval for production release. If it is a continuous deployment approach, there is no manual intervention. You can able to promote the changes automatically to production environment. And here you can able to achieve production release without any downtime. All right. So this is a basic advantage of using your continuous deployment strategy. Now the point is why we cannot achieve with monolith application. And what do you mean by this downtime? When I say downtime, why it is applicable for continuous delivery, why not it is for continuous deployment? All these points has to be very much clear for you. But before that, you understand the basic difference between continuous delivery and deployment, right? You all able to understand the difference or any confusions there? Unable to understand anything? Should I consider like that or what? Guys, hope you all
Yeah,
available
able to
online.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah,
able to
yeah, good.
understand.
Okay. One more important point, right? Apart from this topic, if you want to survive in DevOps field, okay, if you have chosen your career as a DevOps, and if you're really serious about your DevOps career, one of the very important thing for DevOps professional is interaction. Okay, you should know how to interact and get the things done, because we are the people who are responsible to promote the collaboration between the teams here. That is a basic agenda, right? So it is a responsibility of a DevOps team to interact with all the stakeholders and promote the collaboration, right? So how effectively you interact, that much you can able to extract the details from the stakeholders and you can make your successful DevOps journey. Got it? So please cultivate that habit from now. Try to interact, just unmute your line, just say yes or no at least, so that no, it will be more progressive. Got it? Now, coming back to your continuous delivery and deployment process, the difference are very much clear. But if you want to understand it better, I'll give you one small scenario. You guys are using some banking applications, right? Like your online banking
Yes.
or your banking or card transactions, right? So whenever you're using these applications, you'll be doing some online process. It can be through your web browser or through your mobile devices. And there are various services provided by this service provider. If you take any bank, they'll be having their account service, card service, loan service, right? A lot of services provided by the service provider. So have you ever received an SMS notification from your banker stating that due to some maintenance reason, your service will be down for some duration? Have you received such
Yes.
notification?
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm? So
Yes.
what it mean actually? They are trying to do some upgrade or they want to introduce some new features to their production environment. This banking applications and the core insurance applications, right? All these things are a very core application which requires a huge transaction from thousands and thousands of customers. So already this application is up and running. Thousands of customers are using this application. If they want to introduce any new feature to that application, starting from their development team, they will do the code changes. They will do some application builds and testing. And now the code is ready for production release. When they're ready to move the changes to production environment, right? As like that, they will not implement the changes to prod. Since it is a very critical application changes, they expect the manual sign off approval from all the stakeholders. Stakeholders means all the teams who are all involved in the process. Starting from the infra team, they should ensure that the infrastructure is defined as per the requirement. Similarly, the application team should give a sign off stating that they covered all the business cases. And the testing team should give a confirmation that they have completed all sort of testing and all testing reports look successful. Similarly, release management team, production support team, IT security team, all these teams and the stakeholders should give a manual approval. Only then the changes will be promoted to the production environment. You see? So this is one of the examples for your continuous delivery. So usually what happens, we use some term like production release window. Production release window means the duration. If you notice the duration right in your SMS, it will be hardly around 4 to 6 hours max. Have you noticed?
Yes.
And that too, they've defined this duration during the non-business hours, like early morning on Saturdays or Sundays, or at the midnight. They will not choose this time frame during the peak hours. They won't deploy anything on Mondays or during weekdays, right? Have you noticed? So far you must have used that application as a general user, but if you think on developer's perspective or DevOps perspective, you can understand a lot of technical things involved there. The time, whatever they choose, and also it is must to understand. So now assume that they have fixed this time to introduce a new feature to the production environment. So for this 4 to 6 hours of time, their servers will be down. No users can able to access that service. That is the reason they're giving you notification, right? Because it is some critical change. During this process, I don't want any user to get affected by the changes, because if anything goes wrong, it will impact the whole system, right? So usually what happens when they try to introduce a new feature here, they will down the service and they will upgrade the changes. During this upgrade, if everything looks good, that's fine. What if the new changes are not working as expected? The latest version of the changes is not working as expected in production environment. What they will do? What we can do there?
Roll back to previous version.
Okay, so roll back, or we can call it as an undo, right?
Yeah.
So this revert or rollback will not be considered initially. Before they actually do this rollback or revert, they will first try to fix the issue, because they have 6 hours of deployment window. Within that 6 hours of time, they can able to make any changes. No customers are going to get impacted. So within the given time frame, if they can able to fix the issue, that's well and good. Still, if it is not possible, then only they'll think about the revert action. That is the role of the release manager here. They will take that call. Understood? You are able to understand different importance, right? To achieve continuous delivery. And why it
Yes.
is mentioned for banking application means banking applications are very core applications. Like it was developed many years ago. We cannot say that all the banking services which we are using are completely microservice-based application. 20, 30 years back, they might have developed some monolith application, which is still in use. So we cannot achieve continuous deployment for such core applications. Understood? Any question?
No.
And there is another scenario. Consider some other application. Like, for example, you guys are using your Netflix, right? And what else? Facebook, right? Amazon, correct? So these are all some web applications. As like your banking application, you're accessing these applications through your web browser. It is a web service running behind the process. Hope you all using it, right? It's something which is familiar for you people, right?
Yeah.
Or even your Google also. Have you ever received such SMS notifications or alerts from these people stating that your service will be down for some duration?
No.
No.
No, right? Your Amazon e-commerce portal or any streaming, live streaming, video streaming apps like Netflix or Facebook. These guys also doing a lot of deployments very frequently. Even when compared to your banking sectors, these guys are doing very frequent production deployment on hourly basis. Every hour, there'll be some sort of new changes they're going to implement. But they never notify the users about the downtime. Correct? So
Yes.
without downtime, how they can able to achieve it? That is what the main agenda here. So these applications, they are working in a highly matured DevOps model. Their DevOps implementation is highly matured enough to automate the production deployments without any downtime using microservice-based application architecture. So all these applications, whatever you are mentioning here, it's all runs using microservice architecture. They can have thousands of services. Each and every service can be independently developed, built, and deployed to production environment without any manual intervention. So that much they have strengthened their DevOps process. You see? So this is an example for your continuous delivery. And this can be considered for your continuous deployment. Am I clear? Any question on this?
I have a question. So like what I had understanding of monolith and microservices. Microservice usually contains of multiple repository, and for monolith, it is just one repository. Uh, kind of thing like this. So like
Yeah, you can
uh,
consider like that.
yeah. So for continuous delivery, like we take the uh, example of banking application. So they can also have the multiple repositories, like the microservice. Yeah, it is for sure. Like they need approvals, and it should be like come under continuous delivery only. But it can also be the microservices, right?
Yeah, it is possible. That's what I'm telling, right? It is not like always they'll be running the monolith. Their new services might be deployed in their cloud platform, right? Yesterday I was talking about the cloud adoptions, remember?
Yeah.
So some of the core critical applications that are highly depend upon each other, which cannot be splitted, it will be still running as a monolith.
Okay.
All their new services can be created as a microservice, right? So it is a mixed actually. Even you can see for every changes, they won't give the notification to the developers, right? I mean, to the users. Only the core services which requires downtime, only for those core services, they'll be giving you the notification. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
got
what
it.
I mean. So let's make it more, familiar. I gave you one example for Amazon.com. Okay, you can consider this example. I hope you all using this and you know the business model, right? Working process. So as an end user, assume that I am an end user. As an end user, what are all the activities I can perform on this site? Any guess?
Purchase,
Okay.
You can search.
watching movies,
Eh? Watching movies.
watching movies,
We can search for the products.
Okay. Search for products.
sell the products,
Apply filters.
Apply filter. So this is a site actually. Okay. So from this site, what are things I can able to perform? End user activities, you can say. Hmm?
purchase, sell, share,
Directly,
review,
you cannot get into the purchase. So any end user, first they should
login.
sign up. Then only they can able to log in. Correct? Understand the process. So any user wants to access this web application, first they should register themselves and then they can able to log in. And once the login is successful, they can able to search for the products, right? And once they have identified the product, if they want, they can able to add the product to cart, right? And then they can able to place the order. They can able to make some payment and they can able to confirm the order. And once the order is placed, they can able to track the order, right? So as an end user, these are things very frequently we do, correct? I'm just giving you some small limited set of cases, correct? On this page. Now, if you consider all these things on IT perspective, that is on development or DevOps perspective, I consider this as one application, one e-commerce web application. This is one e-commerce web application. Within this web application, we can have some microservices. This is microservice 1. If you are working on agile methodology, this will be considered as a function or a module. But in microservice architecture, this will be considered as one service. Similarly, I can consider this as another service. Like this, if you open this website, I'm not talking about just this web page, this entire website. If you consider, I can able to show you thousands and thousands of microservices. Each and everything, wherever you navigate, whatever you do, it's all processed through microservices. So there'll be thousands and thousands of microservices they'll be developing and deploy as a whole application. Now consider I just want to register myself. So I can just go to this option, click on this option. So when I click on this particular user registration page or create an account page, it is expecting me to enter the mobile number or email ID to continue. If not, I have to register myself. Correct? So the point here is this application is already up and running. It is successful. Now consider business wants to introduce some new feature. Either it can be changing the user interface. They want to change the background color of this page, or they want to add more features to this page, or they want to add more input fields. Like here, they expecting only mobile number or email ID. If they want, they can accept more parameters also, right? So any change they want to make on this page, they are actually doing it on this particular microservice. So one developer, assume that we have assigned one developer to make the change. So the developer can understand the requirement. He can able to independently code the changes. He can able to test the changes and promote to further testing. That is continuous integration. When I say test, here it is unit test. And once testing is completed, finally the production release can be implemented. Deploy to prod. Okay. So this service, it is having its own source code repository. Developers can make the changes in that source code repository and it can be independently tested and deployed to production environment. While I am working on this particular code change, will it impact any other service?
No.
No, no, right? Because it's all independently developed, independently tested and deployed. That is what the main advantage of using microservice. But if it is a monolith, what happens, the entire application will be deployed as one binary or one artifacts there. So even if you make a small change in one function, you have to retest the entire application. That is what the issue with the monolith. But here in microservice, any user can able to independently work on their own changes promoted to the production environment without any impact. So if we are introducing new feature on this particular page, in the meantime, I can allow thousands of other users or any users to work on their own transaction. They can able to search a product, they can add the card, they can able to make some changes. Everything is possible, correct? Easy. So that is what, without any downtime, we can able to achieve this implementation using continuous deployment approach. Am I clear with this now?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that clear to everyone? The person who asked about the difference between a continuous deployment?
Yes.
Fine. So this is how we'll be working. The scenario, whatever I gave you, it is a real-time scenario. If you understand the scenario properly, based upon the same protocol only, you'll be developing any type of applications or deploy any type of application in future. Just keep this example in mind. All right. And going forward, whenever you approach any such web application, just think on IT perspective. So how many services they deploy, what are things they have, what type of database they use, how they deploy the database. All these things should be running in your backend. So clear to all? So this is how we achieve continuous deployment using your DevOps workflow. Easy? Now, the final stage as part of the DevOps workflow is your continuous monitoring. So when we say continuous monitoring, it is actually taken care by the production support or production monitoring team. We have dedicated monitoring team here. And it is used to continuously monitor the production environments and the applications deployed in production environment. That's it. Very simple. Using continuous monitoring approach, I am going to continuously monitor the applications as well as the production environment. It means it is based upon two scenarios. One is the infrastructure monitoring, and another thing is application monitoring. Right. So when I say infrastructure monitoring, as I said already, there is an infrastructure management team at enterprise level. They are responsible to provision the infrastructure, create the infrastructure, and they are responsible to configure the infrastructure. Let's say, for an example, consider I have a development team, and for my team, there are nearly 40 developers joined. Okay. So for all these 40 developers, we have to provide the workstation, right? It can be in the form of a desktop or a laptop. And in all their machines, we have to provide the required softwares. Project related software has to be installed and configured, and also the regular security patch updates, everything should be performed there. Correct? So who is going to provision all these things? It is something promptly done by the infrastructure management team. Similarly, consider I want to do a testing here. Like for example, in my continuous deployment process, I gave you a scenario. To test this microservice, I need a test environment. Like this, if I want to test thousands of microservices, I need thousands of test environments, right? So it is again the responsibility of the infra team to provision the test environments. So once the environments are provisioned, okay, not only test, even for production servers also, all the production servers, everything should be up and running. Because using continuous deployment, we can ensure that the product is deployed to production server without any downtime. But upon deployment, to ensure business continuity, we have to continuously monitor the production environment and the applications. So here we use some IAC tools. Uh, monitoring tools like your Prometheus, Grafana, okay, and you can have Splunk, Dynatrace. There are some production monitoring tools available in market. Using these tools, you can able to monitor the infrastructure, and it is promptly taken care by the production monitoring team. Okay. And similarly, there are some application monitoring tools like App Dynamics or Datadog. kind of tools available in market. Using these tools, we can able to monitor the applications. So what is the main agenda here? Why I should monitor this? Any guess? I have a production
Whether the
server.
application,
Hmm.
whether the applications are up and running.
Okay. So in our last session, we talked about the environments, right? The production environments. In production environment, we'll be having many production servers. Our applications will be actually deployed in the production server. And thousands of users are actually interacting with the production server. So this production server should be up and running 24/7. That is must to have. Due to some reason, if the production server is down, it creates a huge impact in the business, right? So to
Yeah.
prevent that, we have to continuously monitor the production environment and ensure that the production environment is up and running. There are various factors impacts that, like thousands of users are trying to access the application, thousands of microservices are running on the server. So definitely it consumes a lot of CPU and memory, right? And also it consumes the network. Okay, traffic also matters. So we have to continuously monitor all these parameters to ensure that the system is reliable. But it's a common scenario. Okay, after all, just a server, right? Even if you see this is my desktop machine. In my desktop machine, you can see if I go to this process, you can see there are lot of processes up and running here, right? In this computing device itself, there are a lot of processes up and running. There are some foreground process, background process, and each and every process consumes the CPU and the memory, correct? So if
Yeah.
the CPU utilization reaches 100%, can I able to access this machine?
No.
I can't even move the mouse cursor. There won't be any room for new process. Similarly, if the memory utilization reaches 100%, I cannot run any other task there. Correct. So before it reaches 100%, we should able to manage it. So what we usually do with this monitoring tool means we'll be defining some threshold limit. If the CPU utilization reaches 75%, means we can able to alert the team through some email notifications or any other messenger. So once the CPU utilization or memory utilization or traffic reaches 70% of the threshold limit, users will be getting users means a stakeholders, the infrastructure management team or anyone responsible for that service. They'll be getting the alert and they have to act immediately, because before it reaches 100%, we have to prevent that. So using this monitoring tool, we can able to proactively monitor our infrastructure before it goes down. Same thing is applicable for applications also. Consider I have written one Java application or any web application which has a lot of microservices. So in real-time environment, one microservice can call another microservice. One service will be having some dependencies, upstream dependencies or downstream dependencies. So whenever there is a call established from one service to another service, what is the response time? Okay, how frequently we are calling that service? How much time it is consuming? All these things are really required to be monitored to improve the performance of the application. Let's say in your case, assume that I'm using this web application and I just want to search for a product. By entering the product name, okay, if I click on the search button, within no seconds, I should get the response. If I'm not getting a response, what it mean? What you will do actually? First, you will check your net connection, right? From end user perspective, that is your
Yeah.
network related concern. So if end users are not facing any issue, then there might be issue with the applications infrastructure. Their production server might not be responsive. Sometimes the production environment will be reliable, but application logic might be messed up. So in order to monitor the application, we'll be using some application monitoring tools here. Easy. And we can able to again automate with the help of Jenkins. Through Jenkins also we can able to orchestrate all these activities. Easy. This is about your continuous monitoring. Any question? Now,
No.
while talking about this continuous delivery deployment, we discussed about various things. If you want, you can able to take some tools that is required to achieve your continuous delivery deployment. So first thing is you can consider Jenkins and Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible also we can use for deployment. Right. So like this, there are various tools that are responsible to achieve your continuous delivery deployment. All right. Fine. So these are all the various stages of your DevOps, starting from continuous development till continuous monitoring. And apart from this, okay, there is something called infrastructure management team, right? So what all the process this infrastructure management team is going to do means they are responsible to, as I said, provision the servers. It means the servers, for example. And then they are responsible to configure. So it is completely the responsibility of the application infrastructure management team to provision the infrastructure as well as configure the infrastructure. So to perform these activities from DevOps perspective, we recommend some ISC tools. That is infrastructure as code. So using this IAC tool, we can able to automate the server provisioning and configuration. For example, we have some tools like Terraform. We have some tools like CloudFormation, ARM. Using these tools, we can able to automatically create the resources, IT resources. And here for configuration, we can use Ansible and what else? Chef or Puppet. Like this, there are some tools available in market. Easy. So using our DevOps workflow, we can able to use these tools to automate the process. Clear? Any question?
Yeah.
All right. And to orchestrate all these things, again, we can use Jenkins kind of orchestration tool here for the matter. Easy. So as a DevOps resource, you have to be clear with the various stages of DevOps. If you're talking about continuous development, what is continuous development? What are the tasks we're going to perform there? And to perform those tasks, what are the tools we're going to use? Similarly, for integration, what are tools we need? And for testing, continuous delivery deployment, the tools, monitoring as well as infrastructure. Because this is what you're going to work actually, right? And if you can see our course curriculum now, like you can see this course content, the scripting and all, it's a fundamental, okay? That is not part of your DevOps skill. Basically, it is a generic skill anyone should have. When it comes to DevOps, you can see starting from the continuous development, I said Git is required. And then to perform build, we use some build tools, right? If you can see in the continuous development stage, we use some build tools. I mean, here, integration. Like Maven, we're going to use. Okay. And for continuous integration of your changes and builds, orchestration, we use Jenkins. And to containerize application, we use Docker. To deploy a containers workload, we use Kubernetes. And then for configuration management, we use Ansible. For infrastructure provisioning, we use Terraform. And for monitoring, we use Prometheus and Grafana, right? So based upon all these stages of DevOps, you're going to learn the DevOps tools. Based upon that only, we have designed this course curriculum. Easy. So at least you can understand, right, for what you're going to learn here as part of this training. What are the tools I mentioned here? We are going to learn about all these tools in detail in the upcoming modules. Am I clear?
Yes.
At least
Yes.
you got some clarity, right? What you're going to do, what you're going to learn. Hmm? And you can able to understand the importance of all these tools now.
Yes.
Any questions from anyone?
No, looks like.
All right. Fine. So the next important thing is, what is the role of DevOps here? Any guess? Any guess?
Maybe create those IP resources and like servers, EC2 instance, you know.
Mhm. Okay. How many of you observed this? I'm not sure how many of you observed this particular point. So when I was talking about the various teams involved in the process, we have discussed about the infra team, application team, right? But I never mentioned anything called DevOps team, right? So as part of this implementation, if I have a DevOps team,
Um, Bridging between development and operation and automation of SDLC process. I
Hmm.
guess this is the role of main DevOps team.
So if I have a DevOps team, where I can fit in the DevOps team, for which process we can able to have DevOps team here.
They are integrating each other for that team. What?
Hmm.
In all steps, Lokshay.
Hmm. So if you are practicing DevOps at your enterprise, if you have a dedicated DevOps team, then this DevOps team will sit on top of all these teams, because
Yes,
we are the team responsible to promote the collaboration between the teams, other teams.
that is
Please, please understand this points. It's a very important thing to consider. As a lead, as an architect, you need to be very clear with all these things. So as a DevOps team, we are responsible to build the collaboration between the teams. So our day-to-day activity, the role here is, we have to continuously interact with all these teams and understand their process, understand their pain points, and we have to provide them some DevOps solutions through automation. That is our role. And also keep one more thing in mind, we are not here to replace anyone. We are just going to help them, support them to automate their process. Simple as that. If you're talking about the infrastructure management team, this team will be responsible to create the infrastructure. But if they are creating infrastructure manually or through some in-house scripts, it leads to some manual errors or delay in the process. So how we can able to speed up their infrastructure provisioning and configuration means by introducing some IAC tools to them. We will help them to automate their infrastructure provisioning using Terraform or Ansible for configuration. Similarly, we are going to help the developers to ensure that the developers' productivities are improved by following the DevOps practice. And we are going to help the testing team to automate the testing, release manager to automate the release. Whether it is a continuous delivery deployment, we are going to help them. And for monitoring team, we are going to help them with the monitoring tools. And for IT security team, we'll just help them with the security policy and compliances as part of a DevOps workflow. Easy. So the primary role of DevOps team here is to interact with other teams who are all involved in the process and help them to automate their day-to-day activities. Simple as that. We are not here to replace anyone. Understood? Am I clear with this?
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions from anyone? If you think I missed any of your question, please repost a question, okay? Or you can use a chat window for that. Don't wait till the end. Are we good to proceed or you want to have a quick break and come back?
Hi, Sai. I have a
Yeah.
question for that one, for that DevOps team related. So, if we are interacting for each and every team, so can you feed that team for that infrastructure team for DevOps? Means we are working like a release management team. So we are fit for that release management team also. Means we are interacting that team. So we are collaborating that function and all the things.
Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Yes, we can.
Oh,
We can. That is what the main agenda here, right? So there should be proper collaboration. It means everyone should be having a transparent approach on what others are doing, how it is being done and implemented, right? So tomorrow, once I start with Jenkins module, I'll show you all these activities through a demo. Okay, we'll see a live demo there.
yeah, okay.
All right. So this is about the role of any DevOps team.
But how we collaborate with the different teams, like through emails or what?
Through your communication channel, right? Through your communication channel. So you should know who are all the people involved and you have to directly interact with them. We'll be creating in our process and all right, we have a Teams channel for each and every team for continuous interaction. That is how we collaborate.
Okay.
Right. So now, if you can see here, we have something called DevOps CI/CD. Okay. So here, I hope you are aware of this term CI/CD, correct?
Yeah.
Continuous and
So using Jenkins kind of build orchestration tool. It can be Jenkins or Bamboo or Azure pipelines or AWS code pipeline or GitLab CI. A lot of tools available in market. So based upon these tools, we can able to create this process workflow automation. So CI/CD means it can be considered as a continuous integration, continuous delivery or deployment. Depends upon the process. If you are doing your manual intervention, that is considered continuous delivery. Otherwise, it is called as a continuous deployment there. Now, what is the life cycle of this DevOps CI/CD pipeline? What is the life cycle here? So when I say life cycle of DevOps CI/CD pipeline, it all starts from the developer, right? Developers are responsible to create the source code. See, when I say life cycle, how we are going to use DevOps to automate your application builds and deployment, the end-to-end process I mean to say here. So it's all start from the developer. Developers create the source code, right? And once the developer code is ready, what is the next step? What is the next step?
Pushing the code to repository.
See, now only you should recollect our previous day session. Okay, in my previous day sessions, I told you, using DevOps approach, we expect the developers to create the source code and save it in the source code repository. And from there only, we are going to perform the continuous integration and continuous delivery and deployment. So to achieve this continuous integration and continuous delivery pipeline, we need the source code. So developers will first create the source code and save the source code changes in source code repository like GitHub. Correct? Now, once the changes are available in the source code repository, what is the next step? Using the DevOps pipeline, we can able to perform the SEM checkout. SEM checkout means my code is available in my GitHub repository. I want to download the code and to perform build. And then we have to create the artifacts. And once the artifact is created, the next step is, what is the next step after creating artifacts? We have to perform the testing, that is unit level testing. And then we promote the changes for further testing. Further testing means it can be your QA level testing or UAT level testing. And once the testing is completed there, what next? Will be deploying it to, or I can say like automate. Testing there. Once the code is available in your test environment, you can able to automate the testing. And from there, once it is done, you can able to deploy to production environment. Correct. So this is what the flow of execution, starting from the code development till production deployment. Now the code is available in the production environment. What you will do next? You'll be doing some monitoring there, right? So we'll be doing some continuous monitoring of your application code and infrastructure or application, whatever it is deployed there. So based upon that, we'll be getting some feedback. Definitely we'll be getting some feedback based upon the monitoring. For example, consider I deployed one service to my customer and the customer is sharing some responses, sharing some feedback. Based upon the feedback, I can able to enhance my process, correct? So what that feedback will be again sent to the development team. So the development team will consider the feedback. If it is really required, they can able to implement the changes in their new release. They'll make a new code change. They will just implement it through your DevOps workflow with the automation. So like this, the new changes, what are we going to implement? It will be performed throughout the life cycle of your DevOps. Easy? Are you able to understand this? So that is why it is a continuous process. Okay, like if you can see any DevOps workflow or a life cycle of DevOps workflow, it will be represent an infinite symbol, right? Have you noticed?
Yes.
It is not going to have an end. Based upon the continuous monitoring and the feedback, the response will be taken care, and again it will be developed. The new change will be implemented. So there will be a continuous development effort, continuous integration, continuous testing, and continuous delivery and deployment will happen throughout the life cycle of your application. Any question? Any question on this? So all these things, right? It is not just to understand the concept. It should give you some proactive thoughts, and you should able to place yourself. Tomorrow, if you are working on this particular field, what will be your role? How you are going to independently work on it? Just have that responsibility in mind and go through this topic. Then it will be easy for you to understand the things and relate the things. So any other questions? If you want, I can give you a 5 minutes break. All that I expect from you is starting from yesterday's session, what are things we discussed? Just have a recollect of all those things. And if you have any question, let me know now. All right. Yeah, you can have a 5 minutes quick break and come back, refresh yourself and come back. But I expect a lot of questions from you now. I just want to understand like how you are able to make with this. Yeah, go ahead, please. Just try to recollect. So shall we?
Yes, sir.
So can you able to recollect things, able to relate the things? Any questions? Because with this, we are completing our DevOps introduction module. The next thing in the list is about Linux operating system. Okay. So throughout this process, right, we are going to work on various things like your Jenkins promptly, your Docker, Kubernetes. So we'll be having a demo of all these stages. I mean, all these DevOps tools while we progress.
Loksha, I just want to know that in DevOps CI/CD pipeline, where the security comes in after automate testing or
If you're considering only the DevOps flow,
mm,
security can be maintained as the intermediate stages, like just before the code promotion to your test environment, we'll be
okay,
implementing some code quality check, all those stuff.
okay, okay, thank you.
All right.
Just one thing. What is this SCM checkout? First of all, we'll create the source code, then save it in the GitHub. And this SCM checkout, what
It
is?
is just a process of downloading the source code to the build environment. To perform on the build, I need the source code, right?
Okay, okay, okay.
So the SCM checkout means it's just checking out the code from that source code repository to your build environment.
Right. Done.
So you need to relate that life cycle of DevOps with the environments here. So as you can see, we have a non-prod environment and production environment, and under non-prod we have dev environment. So this dev environment is completely owned by the developer, right? Where they can create the source code, make some unit level testing. They can able to use their IDEs and Git to manage the versions of the code. And once the code is published to the source code repository, we have to download the source code to the build environment. That is what SCM checkout. SCM checkout will download the code from the remote repository to this build environment to perform the build, create the artifacts. And once the artifact is created, the change will be integrated to a test environment, right? To perform the automated testing. And from there, it will be deployed to production environment. So QA means it's quality assurance testing. UAT means it's user acceptance testing. It is a part of testing actually. Under QA itself, we have a lot of things like functional testing, regression testing. We are not going to deal with all those things. It's all completely owned by the testing team there. Easy? Am I making things clear to everyone?
Yes, yes, Loksha.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm not making things clear, let me know right away. I don't want your last minute updates on your feedback. Got it? Because later I won't be available. The whole day you'll be having the question in your mind. So instead, if you have any question, just let me know so that we can confidently move to the next level. Fine. So now, while talking about the DevOps, right, we discussed about the role on DevOps team's perspective, but as an individual, okay, who you are in the DevOps team, right? For example, if you consider DevOps, okay, so as a fresher, if you join the team, you'll be considered as a DevOps associate. I'm just giving you on some career perspective inputs now. So as a DevOps associate, you'll be considered a junior level resource, but you should have all the skills using Jenkins and Docker and Kubernetes to automate. You'll be like creating the scripts and implementing the changes, DevOps script changes. And then you down the line after a year or two, you'll be designated as a senior DevOps associate and then a DevOps lead and then a senior DevOps lead and then a DevOps architect, right? And then you can be DevOps consultant, right? And then can be your SRE, site reliability engineers. All these things are the roles and designations with respect to your DevOps career. All right. And apart from that, there are a lot of scope in DevOps. It is not like we have implemented DevOps and our work is over. So if you want to actually, retain in this career, you have to equip yourself. So for any DevOps resource, you have to be clear with some of the scripting languages. I mean, we already talked about the DevOps tools, right? Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, all these things are the DevOps tools. But apart from the DevOps tools, you need to be comfortable in some scripting languages. Like we have something called shell scripting. If you are part of your Linux-based automation, you need to know about shell scripting. At least the fundamental. I'm not talking about the core or detailed scripting. You should have the fundamental understanding about the shell scripting. And then if you're working on Jenkins, you need to learn about Groovy scripting. And if you're part of your Ansible or Kubernetes kind of process, will be working with some YAML scripting. And on top of it, Python scripting. So if you get time, just focus on all these areas. Anyways, we are going to learn about it in the upcoming modules, but still ensure that you mention all these things in your profile. Then only it will be adding more value. Easy. Don't get confused with the scripting language and the programming language. As a DevOps engineers, we never work on any programming language. We are not here to develop any business application. We are here to just do some process automation. Got it? Any question on this?
No.
All right. And if you consider the journey of DevOps, right? Like, I mean, your SDLC itself, if you can see here, initially we started with the waterfall model, if you remember, right? And then we talked about Agile. And now we are talking about DevOps. What next? We have
MLOps.
DevSecOps. Sorry, come again. What is it?
MLOps, I thought, but
And then we can have SRE. And then we can have AIOps, MLOps. And even before that, we can have GitOps. Okay. So I'm just giving you a broader view about your career. It is not like you're learning DevOps and once you get into DevOps, your career is over. You should always have a mindset of process automation. So once you implement DevOps to any customer, then you can able to recommend to use DevSecOps approach, and then SRE, GitOps, AIOps. So there we have a lot of opportunities, okay, in this field. It is not like if you're a developer means you'll be doing the development activities throughout your lifetime, right? But as a DevOps, you can able to equip yourself. You can able to learn new things and keep yourself updated to read in this market. So it is a continuous learning process also for us. We have a lot of things to learn. So please stay focused and first define what you exactly need and focus on that area and make yourself comfortable on that area first. Then you can implement all those things one by one. Easy? Any question?
no.
Hope it helps, right? All of you? Fine. So the next thing, the final note about DevOps. So when I say DevOps, as I said, it is just a strategy. to enable collaboration with the teams and perform all sort of automation, starting from continuous development to continuous monitoring, right? Do we have any drawbacks in DevOps? Can you able to find any drawbacks in DevOps? If you say waterfall model, you can say one drawback, right? If it is agile, we can say one drawback. So like this, do you see any drawback in DevOps? Hmm? What could be the drawback? You understand my question, right? All of you?
Adoption from agile methodology to DevOps is one of those.
Adoption. Okay.
And there might be high cost also involved in initial stage like infrastructure and
Mhm.
like
Okay. Then
It can also be a little bit complicated, complex.
complicated means like on what perspective you're saying it's complicated?
We have multiple things that we need to do. Then we will also have automatic deployment where there is no need for
Okay.
manual interventions.
Okay. Fine. So in general, right, if you're talking about DevOps is all about three important entities. The very first and important entity of DevOps is the people. People means the teams who are all involved in the process. They are the core assets to implement DevOps. Okay. Because I said DevOps is a strategy here. Strategy means it is a process. So in order to define that process, we need the people. You might be an expert in DevOps as an architect or senior architect, but you cannot define the DevOps strategy of your own for any organization. You have to interact with the concerned team, stakeholders. You have to collect all their inputs. Based upon that infrastructure and the platform only, we can able to define the strategy. So I can't say like I have a strategy and you have to follow that. It will not work. It is purely depends upon the target customer. So people who are all involved in the process, they are the very important entity to be considered. And the next thing only the process. So based upon their inputs, based upon their feedback, we define this DevOps process. Process means a strategy. And based upon the process only, we identify the DevOps tools. Like when we talk about the DevOps tool, you said the process automation and all, it's difficult, right? So it's not like it actually. Even if you are strictly following the DevOps approach, right, we never give importance to DevOps tools. DevOps tools are considered the least entity. It is at the last in the list. We never define the process based upon any tool. It is based upon the DevOps workflow. Why? Because consider today we are talking about various DevOps tools. Let's say you're talking about Jenkins. I said Jenkins used to automate the entire CSD pipeline, right? We are using Jenkins today. What if down the line, after 5 years, Jenkins is not there in market? Hmm? What if this Kubernetes lost its popularity? It is not going to be used after 5 years. What will happen? So we never rely on any tool because tools can come and go over the period of time, correct? But the strategy, what you define, should be capable to handle any type of tools and technologies that comes into place. That is how we should define our strategy. That is what considers a mature DevOps implementation. And to achieve all these things, we need the people support. If the people are not responding properly, if they're not supporting to this change, it is not possible to implement DevOps. So if you ask me what is the main drawback of DevOps, I can say people are considered as one of the main drawback here, because it is not that easy to convince the people and get the things done. Correct? A lot of scenarios. Okay, even as a DevOps architect, when I interact with my customers, the customer, they wanted to implement DevOps, but the people who are involved in the process, these teams, right? If we interact with them, they, first of all, they will not have any idea about DevOps. They are completely new to DevOps. We have to showcase the capabilities of DevOps, make them understand, make them realize the importance, because they always think like if DevOps team can able to automate the process, they might be losing their opportunity, right? So on that perspective, there might be some sort of negligence will be there, but still, as the experienced DevOps resource, like DevOps lead or architect, you should able to overcome the situation and make it successful. So clear to all on career perspective,
Yes.
guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right. So a lot of things. It's a very interesting job, guys. Seriously, I'm telling you. Okay. So just assume, okay, you are responsible for your enterprise level production release, automation of that release activities. Just see how graceful work it is. A lot of things. Only thing is you should have a mindset of process automation. Don't leave anything unattended. If you want to survive in this field, you should always look for the scope for automation. Wherever possible, whatever possible, you should able to automate. That's what the mindset. And also there should be continuous learning on this area. If you're ready for that, yes, this is yours. Easy?
Yes.
Even if you're from non-IT background or any other stream, don't worry about it. We have a lot of good opportunities. If you have the learning mindset, and if you can able to quickly adopt to this changing tools and technologies, yes, definitely you can able to make it successful. Clear? That's it. That's all about the introduction to your DevOps module. Next, we'll be talking about the fundamentals of Linux. That is module 2. But before I talk about this module, right, I would like to share this class notes with you. I told you today I'll be sharing notes with you, right? Okay, we'll do one thing. Let's start on our DevOps flow itself. Okay, like as we discussed, the developers are going to maintain their source code changes in the repository, source code repository, right? So to maintain this class document also, I'm going to show you the GitHub repository. I'll be creating one repository for you, and you can use the repository to access my class documentations. So do you have access to GitHub by any chance?
Yes, we have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about what does GitHub, other stuff in detail in the upcoming sessions. But as of now, keep in mind, it is a repository which is used to maintain some files and folders. Developers use this to maintain their source code changes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create one repository for your batch to maintain all our class documents and all the reference materials, whatever required for your learning. Easy? So all that I'm expecting you is like use this link. Let me put this in chat window now. Meeting group chat for everyone, right? Uh, can you able to get the link from the chat window?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
just click on the link. If you already have an account, just log into the account. Just ensure that you can log in. That's all. I don't want anything to be done there. If you do not have your account, just click on that sign up button. It will ask for an email ID and other stuff to create. Just enter your details and create one account. You can enter your email ID, password, and then the username and proceed. Click on continue to create an account. Possible? Can you all able to make it now?
Yes, right.
Sir, open.
Any challenges in doing this? People who are completely new, just follow the steps, okay? It is just very straightforward thing. It'll ask for the confirmation. It'll ask you some inputs, like
Sir,
for what purpose you're using it, how many members you want to use. Just say one member and choose some use case like automation kind of thing. And for learning, you're creating it for yourself, right? Any challenges you guys are facing, please let me know. All good?
yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Anyone who are unable to create, please let me know right away, because if you miss this, then you cannot access my notes for reference.
Sir, can you share your notes?
Can you able to log in?
Yes, sir. I have already in GitHub, so I logged in.
All right. I'm not getting confirmation from everyone. That's what I'm disturbing here. Like, not sure what is happening. You guys are working on it. Use a chat window and say yes or no. Yeah, what's wrong there?
Guys, please confirm on chat.
Yeah, you are
I
okay.
logged in.
Okay.
Yeah, done.
Okay, super. All right. So while you were logging into that account, right? So I have created a separate repository for your batch, and that is what you're seeing here. And in this, I'm going to add your document. So let me add a new folder. Don't worry about how to create a repository and how to add these documents and all. That is out of scope for today. In the upcoming sessions, like if you can see here, your course curriculum, we have a dedicated module called version control system using Git and GitHub. Here, I'll show you how to create your remote repositories, how to create your remote GitHub repositories and all. I'll show you there by the time. As of now, you just use this repository for your document reference. Easy. So let me publish this here. Easy. So I'm committing this, and let me put this in chat window now. Hope you all received this link.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if you directly access my link, you'll be accessing my repository directly, correct? But if you want to copy my repository into your account, you can just fork the repository. Listen, all of you, on my screen, you can see, if you click on this link, there is an option called fork. Can you able to create a fork now? Fork means it is a process of creating a copy of your remote repository. So what you're going to do here is, you're going to copy my repository under your account. Right. So from this link, click on the fork button. As you can see on my screen, there's a fork button here. Just click on that fork button. And once you click on the fork button, it will take you to this page. This page. Can you see this? I'm going step by step. Please follow the instruction. Can you be able to see this page once you click on fork button?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So from there, you should notice the owner ID should be pointing to your ID. Correct?
Yeah, yes.
It should be your GitHub account ID or something, which should be available. Instead of my ID, it should be yours. And the repository name can be same for your case. No need to change it. Just ensure that the owner is pointing to your account ID, and leave all the parameters default and click on create fork again. Possible? So it is just a process of copying my repository into your account repo. Easy.
Yeah, it is workable.
So all good. Anyone unable to fork the repository, please let me know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is done.
It's done, right? Super. So going forward, you can simply click on the sync fork button. Okay, like whenever I make any new changes in my repository on daily basis, you can see some changes here. So whenever you want to keep your changes up to date, no need to refer to my repository. Log into your repository, and on that page, somewhere in the mid, you can see something called sync fork button. Right? From your account repository, there should be a sync fork. If you click on the sync fork button, the changes whatever I make, it will get updated to your repo. Auto update. Easy. At this point, the repository will be in sync because you already forked it. It is with the latest changes. If there is any incremental changes happens, then you can use a sync fork button. All right.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Okay, fine then.
For me, owner is not showing as paper live.
It will not be there. What is showing there for you? Should be your ID.
It is showing my ID.
It means you already forked it. Once you fork the repository, you just copied my repository to your account. Correct. So that is what you're going to access going forward. Let's say, for example, consider I'm going to make some new changes. I'll just create one new folder here for an example. Let it be like Linux class notes dot text. A small text file I'm adding here, and I'm going to commit this. So if I make a new changes in my repository, see, I create new folder, right? It won't be available immediately there. If you refresh the page, just click on this refresh button on your page, on your repository. Once you click on the refresh button on the page level, you can find a message. Your repository is behind a commit, right? And you can find a sync fork option there. Yes, no?
Yeah, we can able to see that one.
Yes, click on the sync fork option. There is a drop down, and you can find one option called update branch. Correct?
Yes,
If you
yeah.
click on update branch, it will update the latest changes from my repository into your repository. This is how you can able to keep your repositories in sync. All right, guys.
No, not getting, sir.
What went wrong? Where you are now?
When I refresh the page, then where?
Have you forked the repository first of all?
Yes, 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 sir. Yes,
Can you
sir.
able to see your account ID with your project repository name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if that is the case, can you able to see these two folders?
Yes, DevOps underscore intro and readme and .md.
No, Linux is there. Linux folder is there. Can you able to see Linux folder there? No,
No,
right?
sir.
Now what you can do, just refresh your web page.
Yes, refreshed, sir. Refreshed.
Once you refresh your web page, on the middle of the page, somewhere you can see my screen, you can find something called sync fork. Can you?
Sir, already refreshed, but I'm not able to see anything.
No, sync fork button will be there. That's what I'm saying. It is not like after you refresh, you'll get the folder. It's not like that. Can you see the sync fork button on the page?
In commit.
No, there is a code option is there, right? Green color button is there, no code. Can you see my screen? Just look at my meeting share screen.
Yes, yes, yes.
So the circled area right here, you can able to find that sync fork option.
No, sir, I'm not getting, sir. Again and again, I refresh.
Can you share your screen if possible? I'll show you.
Yes, yes, I'm sure, sir.
Even I'm not seeing that option.
Okay, let him share the screen. Sorry, what's your name? I missed your name. Who wants to share?
Sir, I'm sharing, sir. Shivam.
Okay, so others, please observe. Let him share the screen. I'll show how to make it. Yeah, please share your screen.
Shared, sir, shared.
No, we are unable to see your screen.
Give me a minute, sir.
Yeah, now we are able to see your screen. See, the point is you have you are just using my repository. Okay, it is pointing to paper live DevOps Jan 25, right? My account is there. Have you forked the repository? If you fork the
Yes, I
repository,
forked.
No, no, not you. Who's sharing the screen now?
I'm sharing the screen.
Jyotirmay, right? Okay.
Yes.
Shivam, just observe here, okay? Uh, can you go to your repository now? The one which you created? I mean, the fork repository. Click on the repositories option. Where is that
Yes.
repo? Yeah, where is the one which you fork? There can see only 4 repositories are here, right?
Yes, right.
Have you created any fork now? No, there is no repositories created today.
But it is showing owner as my ID only.
Scroll down, page down. No, there is no repositories, right? Like it is not showing anything here. Just go back to previous page. Okay, listen carefully, all of you. Listen carefully. Hold on, ma. Others are listening. Okay, just hold on.
Okay.
So guys, you will be at this page. If you access my link, GitHub repos link will be at this page. Just click on the fork button. Hope all are following, right? Shivam,
Yes, sir.
click on the fork button and it will take you to this page where you can find your owner ID and the repository name. With these details, just click on create. So now only it is creating forking the repository. Right? So now you can see a new repository has been created with your owner ID and my repository name. Correct? And this repository is already up to date. Like Linux is there, right? I just made latest changes available now. So if you want to keep your repository in sync with my repository, what I'm expecting you to do here is, can you see there is a sync fork button? So this option you'll be getting from your repository only, not from my repository. Shivam, can you able to see this option now?
Sorry. Yes, sir.
Choose that option. If there is any new changes available, you'll get to an option called update branch option when you use the drop down. Click on that update branch. The latest change will get updated there. Easy?
Yes, sir. Done, sir.
Simple as that. Hope things are clear to everyone here.
Yes, yeah.
So don't forget the term fork. Tomorrow while working on Git module, we'll discuss about that. Easy? So is it clear now? Jyotirmay.
Yes, yes.
All right, you can stop sharing.
But here it is showing it is updated 13 hours ago.
Eh? No, it just go back to your folder, click on the folder. Yeah, it is available, related changes. Check your system time. There might be some difference there. It should be just 8 minutes ago. I think your system time or region is something different.
Yes, yes. There is some issue with the system time.
That's what. Okay, go ahead, please. You can
Yeah.
stop sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fine, guys. So I'll stop this for now. So we have completed our very first module with an introduction to DevOps. And tomorrow we'll start with our Linux fundamentals. And there are some prerequisites to work on this module. I'll talk about that in next session. Right? Any question? All good?
No, sir. Uh, Hi,
Hope
Lotse.
it's
If you don't mind, can I ask one question?
yeah.
Yes, different teams, involved in the application life cycle.
Before that, Hemant, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Others, I'm done with the session. Okay, if you want to log off, but ensure that you share your feedback. I'll open the poll here. And one more request from my end is, while joining the session, please be on time. Okay, I'll be starting session sharp at 7 a.m. IST every day. I can see today also there are a lot of people joined at least 10 minutes late. Okay, if you're joining late, you'll be losing context. Okay, I don't want to miss anyone behind. So please ensure that you join on time.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Sure. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank
I'm
you.
ready
Okay.
to stay late.
Thank you.
Yeah,
One
thank
and
you. Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, yes, Hemant, tell me please, what's your question?
Yes, different teams involving in the application lifecycle. So, for suppose if we take infrastructure management team, okay. So separate will be available in organization, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we are a DevOps in, as we are a DevOps team. We use the Terraform tool to provision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as per my knowledge, there are two types. There is on-premises and one more is cloud.
Mm-hmm.
But suppose if the organization is interested on premises, so these IT admins come into the picture. If the organization interested on the cloud side, so whether we DevOps engineer comes into the picture, I mean, this is the role. I mean, this is a scenario every organization
No,
will.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, not like that. DevOps is not just for your cloud. Even we implement for on-premise environment as well. Like if
Okay.
you're talking about the cloud working model, right? We have a hybrid model, public and private cloud models, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So if you want to implement your infrastructure automation or application build automation, whether it is running on your cloud platform or in your on-premise environment, will be part of it. Okay, so we are even the infra team also will be part of your infrastructure provisioning on the cloud platform. So we are just going to help the infra team to automate the process. That's it. For example,
Okay.
let's say we have an infra team and they have to create around 50 test servers.
Okay.
So how they usually create a test server? If they do it through manual approach, definitely there might be some manual errors, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It is a time consuming process for them if they do it manually, because all 50 servers manual configuration is not a small deal.
Correct.
So we DevOps team, we are going to support the infra team to automate that server creation process through Terraform. So with the Terraform, if you implement, you can able to quickly create it without any manual errors. So don't worry, tomorrow while working on Terraform model, I'll show you how to implement that scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine. No worries. Okay.
All right.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
All right. So any other questions from anyone? Hope it's progressive, right?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
After the completion of the live session, you are going to send the recorded session, right?
Yes, recorded sessions will be shared with you by our support team.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, on daily basis, you'll be getting recording class recordings.
Hmm.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks for your time. We'll connect tomorrow. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you.